Welcome, dear one, to this video. We're going to continue our topic regarding God's will and God's counsel, and we will resume immediately with the slides. This was the last slide of the previous time, and we will continue now and dive deeper into the nits and gritty, so to speak, the nuts and bolts of of those two words and how they are related to one another. So let's continue. So we're going to use a very well-known passage in Ephesians 1:11 to use that as a kind of point of departure. So there it says, "In him, in whom our lot was cast also, being designated beforehand according to the purpose of the one who is operating all in accord with the counsel of his will." In accord, so he is operating everything in accord with something, and that something is the counsel of his will. So what exactly does this mean? How does God's counsel relate to his will? And why did God set it up this way? It must be ingenious, right? It must be very smart. Let's look at the Greek words, the original words in God's word. God, what is God's will? The Greek word translated with will is thelema. Thelema is the root. This is the Strong's number. So let me then provide like a, how do you say that? Like a statement, a definition. God's will is always directed toward a predetermined purpose at a predetermined moment. Always a predetermined purpose at a predetermined moment. That is God's will. So it can be pertaining to the end purpose of his plan, when he will be all in all, or when he will be all in everyone. That is his end purpose. But you can also have long-term objectives within the plan, so to speak. You have then long-term objectives, you have intermediate-term objectives, and also short-term milestones, so to speak. So you can distinguish between those, but keep in mind that they are moments in time, so to speak. They are moments, right? So keep that word in mind. A purpose, a milestone, etc. is a moment. So God's will is focused on accomplishing a purpose at a certain moment, right? Let's go to God's counsel. What is that? The Greek word is boule. Boule. The root is boule. So you have different conjugations. The Strong's number is 1012. Greek 1012. So let me provide a kind of a definition. God's counsel is always focused on the strategy, the approach, the plan, the method, the way, the route that is established with the motive to achieve a particular purpose in the best possible way. That is the motive behind it. So the motive behind the plan, let me use the word plan or approach, is to reach a purpose, not just like that, but to reach it according to the best possible route. What is the best possible route? That is the route that leads to the maximum experience of glory. That is the best possible route for every creature. Okay, so just to summarize for now, God's counsel is focused on how the particular purpose is accomplished. You see the point? So God's will is focused on the what will be accomplished, and the God's counsel is focused on how will it be accomplished. Okay, so we continue with a preliminary conclusion. God's will and God's counsel are each other's perfect complement. They wholly fill up each other. That is the preliminary conclusion. So they are each other's complement, just like men and women. Okay, so let's look now at a series of illustrations for better understanding. Let's see if we can better understand this concept. So first, there is this drawing. It's a schedule with two axes. The vertical axis that shows the level of glory. So 0 glory, as an example, maximum glory. The horizontal axis shows the time. So this is the beginning of God's plan, the beginning of time, and this is the end of time within God's plan. Time is a tool within God's plan. So let me just as a example provide this as the beginning point in God's plan, and this as the ending point that God has communicated to us. So we know about this one. However, I can already tell you, reveal to you, that this is not God's real end purpose. His end purpose is here. Here. So maximum glory at the end of time. This is God's real purpose. But He communicated for the time being this to a certain group of people. So they are they think they are working towards this goal, so to speak. It's just a simple example. So it would be like it starts here, and then it should go to this purpose, right? So let's see what happened in reality. So God's plan is being implemented, it's being realized, so it walks. At this point in time, something happened. God did something. But before telling that, let me show you what was the how do you say that? The route that we envisioned initially. That is this. This was the route that we envisioned. This is what we thought we would gonna get and onto this purpose. However, what happens in reality at this point in time? This happened. God created Satan, and Satan caused evil to happen. And evil means breaking, destroying. That is what evil means. We will see that in just a moment. However, at this point in time, there was evil committed and sin entered the universe. This moment is called the disruption of the world. In Greek, katabole kosmos. Cosmos is world or system, and katabole is disruption, meaning kata is down and bole is cast. Okay, so this is what happened. All right, so it went wrong, so to speak. However, did it really go wrong, or was this according to God's counsel? So was this already planned without having communicated it? You see the point? So let's go to the next one. This is what it means. Evil, it comes from the Greek kakos and the Hebrew ro or ra, meaning destroy or break. Sin comes from the Greek hamartia and the Hebrew chata, meaning missing the mark or waste. The same. Waste is missing the mark. So this is the disruption of the world. So it went wrong, right? So let's continue. So this is the direction where everything is going with the world right now. As we speak, it's going toward a free fall in evil until the bottom of evilness, so to speak, is reached. So we are maybe here now, and I can assure you that this will happen also in the coming years, so that the evil will become worse and worse until a limit is reached. That limit has been predetermined by God already. So evil has a limit. So it will reach its limit at a certain point in time. From there, where can it only go? It can only go up, right? And that is what will happen in the oncoming eons, the fourth and the fifth eon. So let's go to that schedule. So the real direction in where it will go up is not to the initial communicated purpose, but to this purpose, the real purpose in God's plan. So now from the oncoming eons, it will go up and up. So maybe this will be the fourth eon until here, and this will be, or maybe until here, the red, and this will be the fifth eon until the goal is reached. So to summarize these illustrations, we go to a final one, this one. So here we can see from the initial starting moment, God's counsel, his counsel is like this one. It walks this route. It goes straight horizontal, then it goes down as if it goes wrong, and then from here it goes up. So this is how God operates his creation in the universe. It goes down, we are still in that pattern, downward pattern, and then when the limit is reached of evil, then it will go up until the maximum of glory. Yes, just a schedule, but just to envision it. From God's viewpoint, this is what he really wants. This is his will. And this is his counsel. So his will is a moment, and his counsel, it encompasses a whole period of time. You see the point? And of course, within this counsel, within this route, this method, there are a lot of intermediate points, like milestones or intermediate goals. Here will be a goal, here will be another goal, here is another goal, etc. This is, for instance, the crucifixion of Jesus as an example. But in reality, in terms of evil, that was here. The crucifixion of God's only begotten Son was right here. That was the pinnacle of evil. So spiritually. So we are still in time. So we are heading towards the limit in evil. So let's keep that in mind. So after these schedules, these illustrations, do we reach the same conclusion? Let's go to the preliminary conclusion. Still preliminary. It's still the same. God's will and God's counsel are still each other's perfect complement. They wholly fill up each other. And now, in order to test it, we're going to go through some passages from Scripture to see if this conclusion is still correct. And some passages I will explain more regarding what is written in that passage, sometimes within the slide. Let's start. We start at Acts 2:23. This one, meaning Jesus Christ, given up in the specific counsel and foreknowledge of God, you, gibbeting by the hand of the lawless, assassinate. So these are some sharp words, right? Sharp wording here by Peter. So he says that you, the people he was speaking to, or also me and you, we assassinated him who was given up in the specific counsel and foreknowledge of God. So not only foreknowledge, no, it was also part of God's counsel. This is very important. So God had already planned this unbelievable evil. It was according to God's method of working, his method that he used to reach his purpose, ultimate purpose of love, driven by love for all of his creation. This evil was necessary. That's the whole plan. So it was part of his counsel. So in the specific method God used, and the strange looking ways for our eyes that God used to accomplish his ultimate purpose, his loving purpose with creation. We're going to do one more, then we're going to finish in the next video. Acts 4:27-28. For of a truth, in this city were gathered against thy holy boy Jesus, whom thou dost anoint, both Herod and Pontius Pilate, together with the nations and the peoples of Israel, to do whatever thy hand and thy counsel designates beforehand to occur. Look at that. It's also a confirmation of the previous passage, obviously. So here again you see that Jesus, who was anointed by his Father to be the Christ, he was given over to Herod and Pontius Pilate together with the nations and the people of Israel, the Pharisees, and the peoples, to do with Jesus whatever God's hand and God's counsel designates beforehand to occur. Again, you see here the wisdom behind God's counsel. Not in that moment, because in that moment it looks very stupid to human eyes. However, it is unbelievably wise what God did with Jesus, because that was the pinnacle of salvation for all of creation. So all the adversaries, especially the spiritual ones, were used by God according to His wise counsel to accomplish His purpose. Fantastic. Thank you very much for watching, and we will continue this, and I think we will finish this in the next video. See you then. Bye bye.